PathMonk is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. PathMonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add PathMonk to your website in seconds, let the AI do all the work, and get access to 50% more qualified leads while you keep doing marketing and sales as usual. Check us on pathmonk.com. Welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Kıvanç Ünal from Orphex, co-founder and CEO there with them. How are you doing today, Kıvanç?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, Ernesto. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for connecting. We're in opposite sides of the world, so awesome to have had you on in today's episode.
Thank you for inviting me. It's really great for me to be here. It's a great pleasure for me.
Awesome. Great. Well, let's kick it off, right? I'm sure our listeners are tuning in, wondering what Orphex is all about. So in your own words, tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, well, I've been doing digital marketing and analytics for the more than the last 10 years. So in the meantime, I just get aware that we are just dealing with the too many platforms data and trying to make useful kind of insights from this data. And the hardest part is just having this data, cleaning it, and also we do have too many dimensions, too many metrics, too many different platforms. So after 10 years of experience, I decided to make the life of digital marketing easier. So we built Orphex. Orphex is doing just bringing all of the data that you have on your digital marketing platforms and doing the cleaning part and also analyzing this data for you. And just after analyzing this data, it's just giving you some recommendations about what you should do to get better ROI from your marketing investment. So, for example, you do have Meta investment, you do have Google Ads, you do have on-site the activities. But when you're looking at the data, every time you want to create some insights or you want to take an action, you need to do too many things about this data. So what Orphex does is you're just connecting your digital marketing platforms and we're just giving you the results and the actionable recommendations that you can make use of your digital marketing investment in terms of better ROI. So it's kind of a platform that you don't need to put any effort, but just got the results and see the reasoning behind the data. We are just trying to find the truth behind these patterns in the data with cross-platform analysis and of course, with the AI-driven details.
Okay, great. And so that way then for our listeners to get a good understanding there of Orphex, Kıvanç, what would you say then is that key problem that you guys like to solve for clients?
Yeah, so when you are dealing with the data, there are too much granularity to looking at the platform's details, looking at the creative, looking at the audience, looking at the metrics that your users' behaviors on your platform. So you do need to have too many kind of people to understand really what is going on with the customers. So you need to detailly understand to take an action to create better results. So the hardest part of doing this analysis is you need to gather data from all of the platforms and you need to connect the dots. And also you're not sure that even if you're looking at the right data, and when you look at the different platforms, you can see different results over there. So what we are doing is just comparing all of the data that you have on all platforms and creating some single source of truth for you, and also giving you the reasoning behind this data to make you feel that every decision you make is depending on the data, and you don't need to waste your time to collect this data from all of the platforms because it's really hard to keep the real-time analysis and take actions based on that because everything is changing time to time, and also the customer behavior is not staying the same as the PathMonk does the increasing the conversion rate part. So we are trying to understand the user behavior and give the platforms like Padmonk to act or do the actions need to convince the customer to make a conversion on your platform, because you do need too many people to understand all of the data from all over the platforms.
All right, great. And so that way our listeners could go ahead and visit you, Kıvanç. They could always check you guys out at orphex.co. What role does a website then play for client acquisition?
Normally, I think it does a vital role for us, but I'm not very feeling right about what we are doing right now, because I think it can be better conversions on our website, because what we are doing is very complex. So it's hard to tell the customers and the people who are interested with the product what we are doing right now to let them understand the details of the product. So I'm not saying that we are doing great business over there, because right now most of our lead generation process is depending on telling people about the content, what we are doing right now. We are trying to increase our website's conversion rates, but we are not very confident that it's doing the best right now. But we definitely need to invest in more. Maybe we can work with Padmonk to understand what we can do better, right?
Definitely. Okay, awesome. So is there any tools or tips or methods that you would recommend to our listeners as far as some website lead generation?
Yeah, well, I think in terms of website lead generation, people need to understand the experience. And as I said before, you cannot do it just by looking at some numbers. You should be aware of what people are thinking and what people are doing and what kind of content and the details they are trying to understand on your website. So it is not easy to do it real time when you're trying to do it your own, but try to understand what they're looking for, because not every person, not every customer is looking for the exact same reason to buy a product, or the reason for them to look at the details of the product or the website is not the same. So you should be aware that you should be providing different experience for all of the customers looking at your product.
Great to hear that from you. Well, let's switch gears a little bit, Kıvanç, and let's talk about you as a leader. I mean, you being the co-founder and CEO there for Orphex. What are some key tasks you'd like to focus on your day-to-day work?
Yeah, exactly. I do have the super high level ADHD, and so I'm focusing almost to every task that it's going on to day of our jobs. For the last 3 months, I do have a computer science background. So for the 3 and the 4 months, I'm just building recommendation algorithm based on AI for our product. And then just because I really love to work more than 16 hours or 18 hours in a day, so really doing the coding part, trying to do the managing parts also. But so I'm kind of the entrepreneur that maybe my team doesn't like it too much, but I'm really into all of the details on what is going on at Orphex.
Definitely important. All right, awesome. Well, let's switch to our next section here, Kıvanç, which is our rapid fire question rounds. Are you ready for them?
Yeah.
Awesome. First off, Kıvanç, then what is the last book that you read?
So the last book I read was, I just read it again, The Flow. It's just telling how you can just act on the decisions and the entrepreneurial journey with the seamless details on it. So I really liked it, and I think all the entrepreneurs should read about it, because when you look at it, we're just losing ourselves on the entrepreneurial journey, and so it will just make us realize the psychology of the experience, optimal experience. As I said before, I'm not very good at this, but the flow is the psychology of optimal experience. I think it's a great book to read.
Definitely. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Next then is, if there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be that one thing that you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
So if there is no boundary, I really would like to understand the real feeling, the details about the human psychology, about the decision-making process, to tip test, to do some actions that can affect the people's decision-making process. So I really want to clearly understand the process of the people's decision part.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Great to hear that. Next then is, if there's one repetitive task that you could automate, what would that be?
Definitely, it will be the documentation and the briefs and the details of the task we are doing, because, as I said, so I do have suprarenal ADHD, so that's why I cannot even use a pen to write something. So it will be very great to automate all of the things that we are doing in terms of documentation and briefing the team.
Definitely. Okay, awesome to hear that. And well, lastly, Kıvanç, I mean, you being the founder, the co-founder, CEO, you have a lot of experience there already in the marketing world. But what is that one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
Yeah, because of my background on the computer science part, I really did spend most of the time at the beginning of my career to the technical part of the marketing. So after years of experience in marketing, I realized that the point in marketing is more on the understanding the customer and the behavior and the details behind the why people are doing that, the actions. So maybe when I first started, I will be spending more of my time about the behavioral economics and the things that affecting why people doing or what they are doing, and morely to focus on these details. I think it will make me the better understanding the people, and afterwards I can just focus on the technical details also.
Definitely. All right. Some great advice there for our listeners. And well, we are coming to the end of today's episode, Kıvanç. But before we do end, I do want to give you the last word. Say someone forgets everything about the interview today. What is that one thing they should remember about Orphex?
So every decision you need to make should based on the real and the it has to have pattern in the data. So what you are seeing in the basic numbers, it's not the real thing, and you should be understanding all of the details deeply. So be careful about what you're looking, and be careful about all of your data and make sense of it.
Definitely some important there. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. For our listeners, check them out at orphex.co. Kıvanç, I do want to thank you for being on with us today. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm looking forward to our next episode at Katman Presents. Thanks a lot, Kıvanç.
Thank you, Ernest, for having me here. It was really great to talk with you.
Likewise, thank you.